I think in most of my movies, kids were essential part of the stories. Either we're talking about Syrian movie where I gave voice to the Syrian kids, and they were basically a big essential part of the cries from Syria. Either I tried to give a voice to Roma, who was on Maidan, and he was like, for me, Gavroche type of the kid for the Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity. I think in 22, I'm talking right now about my previous movie, one before the Children in the Fire. I'm talking about Freedom on Fire. When I was doing Freedom on Fire, it was amazing to discover so many young kids, young souls, amazing Ukrainian kids who've been vocal and who been literally growing so fast with all this war that was unleashed in Ukraine. You saw the adultery that was happening so fast, and their fresh minds, their understanding of the situation was incredible, and their resilience. So I think Freedom on Fire actually inspired me to give just specific voice just to the kids. Because at the end of the day, we know that war is war. Everybody is suffering. But this war was not just a war against Ukraine, it was a war against the future of Ukraine and kids' other future. And I think for me, it was important elements to give a voice to the future generation of Ukrainians who were A, resilient, had hope for the future, and no matter what, they were strong.
Моя ця історія про полон, вона дуже важка для сприйняття інших людей. А, важко розповідати, коли ти от розповідаєш там перед залою, перед іншими дипломатами, перед майбутніми дипломатами, розповідаєш свою історію, і люди починають плакати, виходити з залу, якось проявляти такі емоції, що ти розумієш, що ти і не хочеш це розповідати, але ти мусиш це розповідати. І от в такий от є вибір. Але якщо це не будеш ти розповідати, то ти розумієш, що така історія буде знов і знов.
I have many festivals that are looking at me as somebody who is outsider, and it is today a trend in Hollywood and in the world that only people from that part of the world, for example, if we're talking about Middle Eastern need to tell Middle Eastern stories. If it's a Ukrainian story, it needs to be told by Ukrainian directors. And in my opinion, it's wrong. It is wrong because my objectivity is strong objectivity as a filmmaker. I'm not biased. When Ukrainian filmmaker tells the story, he sees it completely through the different lens, through his own motherland, pain of his motherland, and it's a little bit different. So it's true that the movies can be great from the Ukrainian filmmakers. I saw many great movies, and I have a lot of friends who did these movies. But at the same time, for me as a filmmaker, it's important. It's important to be objective.
Yevgeny, I mean, this film is absolutely compelling and disturbing. And I wish that every American could watch this documentary. I hope to maybe next year, the Academy Awards, people need to see the atrocities because there's no less crime than the atrocities against the innocent children.
So I think this movie, it's a voice of the kids who can pierce the ears of the parents, who can pierce the hearts of these parents, the parents who are political leaders. So the goal is to screen it in every possible places, from festivals to cinemas, and to get it to wider distribution, to bring the change, to cause people who watching the movie to act, to create call for action. Because most of my movies, they are AAA, activism, advocacy, and action.
Я б хотів би розповісти що не треба ніколи здаватися. Бо коли ви здаєтеся, опускаєте руки, то все одно тоді валиться. І тоді вже ви вже не вийдете з цієї ями. А коли ви не здаєтеся, ви цю яму проходите, і тоді все стає таким, як воно було.
Основна наша мета зараз, або таких людей, як я, поставити крапку в цьому, і щоб такого більше на ближайші, хоча б років 50 такого не було.
I like to see how I can influence with my work people to do good things, to bring the change, to inspire people. You know what? It's interesting, specifically with this movie, when I look in how kids are strong, because each of my characters they're heroes, and they also won this war. In my eyes, they won over this war, and I think it's important this inspiration to be seen in every place in the world. Because on one hand, we're going in each story through these horrors of the war, but on the end, we're seeing them overcoming this war. We're seeing these kids being strong, resilient, having still hope in the future. And no matter what's happened to them, they lost limbs, legs, they burned, they've been in a detention, they've been in a kidnapped, they've been in a torture chamber, they've been in a horrible situations of today's war. They are back to normal, they're strong, they see in the future, and they really true role models to all other kids. So I think that's a great message to bring out today, specifically even in Ukraine, where people tired of this war. And this type of the inspiration from the younger generation of kids can be very powerful message. This message, same time, can be very powerful across the Europe, where people need to see this war through the eyes of the children.